Temptation by the Flirts on Revenge of the 80s Radio. With me is Christina Criscione, the band's longtime lead singer. Christina, we talked about your acting career. You said you were in a lot of commercials. I'm curious, what might have been your favorite?
Commercial?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I'd like to say it's the one that made me the most money, but it wasn't. It was actually the first commercial I ever booked, and it was my favorite because it was the worst copy that you could possibly believe. And the director and the casting agent, were saying, now, don't make this silly. It was for a book. It was for a Penguin book. I don't remember the title of the book right now. And when I say, like I said, the copy was just plain old dorky, and I was just like, seriously, like I've got to make this real. And it's funny because there are people who are your lofty actors who think that commercials is a sellout or too commercial, and it's really funny because you can give me Tennessee Williams any day, and if you've got a talent, those are amazing playwrights and amazing characters that you can suss out because they were brilliantly created. But commercial copy, for the most part, is really bad a lot of the times, and you've got to find a way to make it believable and work and not look stupid. And that commercial, when I was looking at the copy, I remember thinking to myself, "You've got to be kidding me." And when I look back on it, I'm like, you know what? For the copy that was, not a bad job. I know that sounds self-aggrandizing, and it's not meant to, but it was for Penguin Books. That was my favorite.
Christina, you reformed the Flirts again.
Mm-hmm.
You've been performing. What made you want to come back into the music scene?
To be honest with you, I thought I had really sort of packed up that suitcase of my creative self. I think when you've been given a God-given gift, and I really believe that you are given that gift by God, because it doesn't matter how many hours you practice. If you don't have the natural talent or the resource, you could sit in a practice room for 8 hours and the magic is not going to be there. And so, I think it's important to realize that it is a gift. And I think when you've been given a gift, you don't just pack that up. To be honest with you, I started singing. I go to a place of worship called Self-Realization Fellowship, and I joined the choir there and started singing for a Christmas concert and started singing for Alzheimer's patient homes and old people's homes, just because I felt like I needed to, have the expression of my voice and my music again. And I really felt like the divine spoke to me through that experience. And I had been thinking about it for almost 2 years prior to us going out. And then once I started doing that, just stuff really just started coming in from the universe. I got an email from Africa saying, would you want to come down and perform? And I'd been thinking about reforming the group, and then when I got that email, I said, well, somebody's talking to me, and that's my answer. And I was going to have Deborah, who was one of the girls, come back, but she has a son and a family. She lives in Buffalo, and we started the process together, and it became apparent that it was just logistically not going to work out for her to be able to do this with us. And I spoke to a lot of people about, well, what do you think? With just me being here as the original, and got a lot of consensus from different people, and they said, Christina, you sang, most of the leads on 3 albums. You're the only girl to ever be on 3 albums with Bobby, plus you were on 2 albums, prior to that with him. And so I decided to put the group together. Right now I go out with a girl named Kim Rowe, and she's just been an absolute gift. And we are, actually, I'm telling you this for the first time, going to be going out with a third girl to go to our Mexico show. And I found this third girl through a record producer named Len Fico from Fuel 2000 Records and Fuel 2. And he had been auditioning girls for a different project and said, I think I have a girl for you. And we just started rehearsing with her. And her name is Danielle McKee, and she actually did backup vocals for Nelly Furtado and 10 years ago. And there's a great synergy. People are in the spirit and the head that I really wanted this project to be about. Everybody is coming from a much more mature place, and I think, honestly, I like the age of this group. I like the age I'm at. I feel really blessed to have had the experiences and learn what I've learned. There's a sense of professionalism in this group and commitment that was not there in the 80s from other girls when I was in the group. That was always frustrating to me. And there is that sense of commitment now. And it's really exciting because it's been a very grassroots project, which, again, speaks to the 80s because everything was grassroots in the 80s. Whether it was Madonna or us or the cover girls or whoever it was, you'd be sitting there going down to St. Mark's and figuring out what you could get for cheap and figuring out your costumes. It wasn't the kind of money that you see going behind, the Lady Gagas or Beyonce or Katy Perry. It's just like, it wasn't that kind of money, but I think, and I think it's great they have that money, but I think that grassroots gives an element to the performance that really got lost after the 80s. I literally had what I call my village of Loma Lane. I live in Southern California, and my neighbors were also excited. They knew this was my background. I had people helping me with jackets, helping me make medals, because we come out in actually our original costume that we did from Made in America, and that took a lot of work, finding the jackets, finding the skirts, having the skirts made, crystals on it, and it feels like it's the 80s, and I actually like that element of it just being very organic. Looking around, it took me a long time to get this show together. I did it all on my own, and I've had, not all on my own, like I said, I had the Village of Loma Lane. I had a gentleman named Steve Wilson who was helping me get the costumes, and it's been a really exciting process. A really exciting process. We literally rehearsed every single weekend from January through May. I did not take one day off in 6 months because I had my full-time job, and then I was doing this. I hired a choreography named Michelle Hansen, who used to be a cheerleader, I believe, for the Phoenix Suns, to help me get the choreography that I couldn't get off of YouTube. And then she actually choreographed the rest of the songs from her own. And we're actually going in to work with her this weekend to add the third girl and to reconfigure some of the choreography. But it's really neat because we're coming out, and you would think it was a flashback to 1984. We did a show in L.A. 2 weekends ago at Club 1984. Danny Sanchez produced it, promoted it rather, and Richard Blade was the DJ. He literally came out and said to the fans on his radio show that he was blown away. He couldn't believe when we walked out on stage because he remembered us being at the Pico Rivera Sports Arena in 1984. And all of a sudden, to see us coming out in those same uniforms, it trips everybody out. And that's exactly the effect I wanted to have. If I was going to do this, it was going to be done exactly the way it was in the 80s. And I was very, very committed to making sure that it was the show that we had in the 80s, even if it was 25 or 30 years later. And it's been an amazing journey.
And it's better than going out alone and calling yourself the Flirt.
Yeah, it is. There are a lot of people who do that from, the different groups and go out by themselves. But to me personally, that doesn't work. And even I'm really excited to be having the third girl come on board because it does, from a visual and creative standpoint, make it look much different, and she's just been great so far.
And sometimes the bands will bring in a new lead singer, Christina. In fact, at that 1984 concert you were talking about, Taps was there, and they have a new lead singer, Miriam Jade, who's quite good.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She is a great girl, and she's really good at what she does, and she's going to start doing some of her own stuff as well soon.
I've heard a lot of her stuff. It's very good, and she has a promising career ahead of her.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you.
Christina, there is another woman, I believe her name is Linda Rizzo, who is out there performing as the Flirts as well. I've seen her on YouTube, social networks, and she has been advertising. Is she associated with you as the Flirts?
No, Linda is not associated with our group. Linda was really an interim flirt between the first set of girls, Rebecca, Holly, and Andrea, before I came on board to do the next 3 albums. And she was really only with the Flirts for approximately 5 to 6 months, but she was never on any of the Flirts recordings or albums or singles.
So basically, she and you are not allied in any way, unlike the Gallagher brothers who go out as Gallagher.
No. We're definitely not. I think it's very interesting that she's not the only one. I mean, there's other artists going out under the auspice of being the artist who were never in the group. I mean, another prime example is there's a group going out as the cover girls, and yet not one of those girls was ever the cover girls, but Angel is going to be coming back with the real girls fairly soon. I think at the end the truth comes out, and you just have to wait for the truth to come out.
Well, there's some breaking news. The cover girls are going to be back together.
Yeah, the real cover girls.
Christina, I understand the Flirts are going to be touring internationally very soon?
Yeah, we're working on that. We are definitely working on an international tour for 2012. In the interim, we'll be doing, like I said, we're going to be doing Mexico next month. We're doing Huntington Beach October 30th. We are looking to go to Florida hopefully soon if that comes through. And I'm letting the energy and the creative sort of jewel just really foster itself right now, and that is exactly what is happening, and it's really exciting.
A piece of advice, don't forget to bring the musical tracks with you.
Agreed.
Christina, might we be hearing some new music from the Flirts around the corner?
I hope to do something like that. We haven't gotten there yet. Right now, I'm really just being present in the moment. I'm being present in the moment of getting the third girl up and running. I'm sure we're going to talk about that in the future. Right now, it's about getting the third girl up again, like I said, and getting out there and really doing some touring and just getting your chops. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I started singing again this past year, I really took for granted that, my voice was just going to be what it was. And the vocal cord is a muscle, literally, just like any muscle, and you lose it if you don't use it. And I was really surprised to see how rusty I was. I was like, holy cow. And I really worked myself vocally, and I worked with a great coach named Ira to come back and really get my voice into the shape that it was. And I still feel like it's still getting to the place it was in 1984. And so I really want all of us to just have this cogent, synergistic feel before we talk about future projects. And I think the best way of doing that is by going out and performing live. There's nothing like it. And I think, I think a lot of performers today don't necessarily understand how important that is to be out there and to be live and to be doing a live gig and to be creating that energy. I mean, I think for us right now, it's about really just forming more of this energy between the three of us, or this synergy, and then I think we'll talk about stuff in the future once we've really established that with the three of us.
Christina Criscione, thank you for coming on Revenge of the 80s Radio with me.
Oh, Chris, this was just fantastic. Thank you for giving me the forum to talk about what we're doing and to reconnect with the fans. It's been an amazing experience, and the fans are really inspiring us on every level to do what we're doing right now.
I'd like to play one of your new recordings, Christina, a remake of the Flirts' Calling All Boys with you at the lead. Done earlier this year, 2011, here's the world premiere of the new Christina Criscione Flirts recording of Calling All Boys on Revenge of the 80s Radio.